What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dan Cave. Today we're back with another Mirrorverse 101 series, and this time, well, we're looking at character progression. I've seen a lot of people ask in the Discord, what does it mean when a character has different levels, stars, rank, astral levels, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be digging into that, really understanding what character progression looks like throughout the character's kit. But first, make sure to hit that sub button. If you guys don't know, we do have a giveaway. Once we hit 1,000 subs, we're going to be giving away some Mirrorverse figures to some lucky subscribers that leave comments. Leave a comment on the video below. Let me know what you are really interested to know about Mirrorverse. What can we make into our next 101 series? Or maybe there's a certain guardian you want me to go through, break down their kit so that we can fully understand how to use them and what they're really used for inside of Mirrorverse. Also, if you want to hang out with us live, make sure to check in the description for a link to the Twitch where we stream this weekly. But with that, then let's get into it. All right, guys. So like we mentioned before, I want to really do a deep dive in what does it mean when you're ranking up, you're leveling, you're getting into your characters with stars, all of that. I know it can be confusing. I know there's a lot of questions. So I'm going to try to break it down in a couple different sections to make it super easy. But if you have questions, feel free, put them down in the comments. We'll answer them. We'll work through them. And if we need to do follow-up videos, we will 100% do that. So let's start with the easy question. How do you get characters? Right, so when you start the game, you're gonna have Rapunzel, you're gonna get your first choice where you can pick your different characters, but how do you unlock the rest of them? Well, those are usually gonna be through crystals. So if I go over to the crystal area, you're gonna see that we have things like famed crystals, there's choice crystals, you have other crystals in here, the stellar crystals, things like that. So realistically, every one of these crystals is slightly different. They have different odds, different stars. Some of them have a percentage of getting certain characters like the famed ones. But the one I'll point out, which we opened ours a little bit earlier, you do have the choice crystals, and those aren't exactly what they sound like. So when you read that, you may think, oh, I get to pick any person I want. Well, not really. When you do a choice crystal, it's going to show you a screen where you get to pick one of the three that are presented. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the choice ones. You may not get a character that you care about in those three. You may also get one that you do. So those are going to be a little bit more chance, but what's nice about them is you know that you at least get some type of choice and it's not completely random. All right, so the next place I want to look at is the laurel shop. So laurels are the currency that you're going to get when you're in a club. And like I mentioned in other videos, you really want to make sure that you get in a club. It's free currency. You get to work together to do a lot of stuff like the dungeons and other areas. So just make sure you find one as soon as you can to really make sure that you're getting those extra pieces in the game. Whether that's these crystals here with Donald and Goofy, or it's some of the other diamonds or things like that that you'll need for leveling up and ranking up, which we'll get to in just a little bit. All right, so with laurels, you can get Donald, you can get Goofy, but these are the only places to get those two characters. So if you're a completionist, if you're a collector, you're gonna wanna use your laurels in here to make sure that you can get your characters. The next one's Stardust. So when you open up crystals, you're going to get characters which will have stars and things like that. They'll also come with Stardust. And Stardust is very important because you're going to want to save that up and then get characters in here that are 4 stars. There are 3-star characters in here, but trust me, you want to just save until you can afford that 4-star because you're going to be getting the other signets that you'll need later for characters. And even with that, we'll talk about that in a few with the talent section, but just save. All right. So we were talking about the overview. Now we're going to go over to the stars. And I think this is another issue where people really have questions around. They don't really know what's the difference between a 1-star, a 5-star. And as you can see, my aerial, the ones with numbers. So the ones with numbers are astral, and we'll get to that in just a second. So essentially, the higher the star is, the better the character is going to be. Their stats are going to go up and different things like that. But the important star number you're looking for is 4 stars. So 4 stars, 5 stars, when you open up those crystals, they're also going to get signets. Now, signets play a role just like we were mentioning over with talents and abilities, and we'll get there in just a second. But the 4-star is going to be key because you're going to unlock that signature ability, and that's really going to help your character. Beyond the 4 and 5 stars, you start to get in astral levels. And astral levels are really nice, but what's going to happen with those is every time you open up a crystal where you already have a character, you're going to get points into those characters. So if I look at my Ariel, let me open her up. You'll notice down here at the bottom right, you have the character shards. So every time I open up another aerial, rather than getting another 2-star aerial, whatever shards are equivalent to that star ranking, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that, it's going to go right into the character shards. And that's going to accumulate until you get enough to go up to the next level. Now, astral levels are what comes after 5 stars, and those go all the way up to astral level 10. There's a few people with astral level 10 characters, but for the most part, it's pretty hard to start to get astral levels unless you're spending, unless you're really playing, or you're getting super lucky with your pulls. So if you don't have astrals for a while, don't worry about it. You'll get there. And even with the 4 and 5 star character, you can still make it pretty far into the game, and you're going to be able to do the normal, the hard stuff. So don't worry too much about astral levels until you've been playing for a little while. All right, so moving on from stars over to the next section, which is talents. And I'm going to kind of put these together. Abilities and talents kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to start with abilities just real quick. And we've already kind of mentioned this. So you have your signature ability, which is always this 3rd ability that gets unlocked when you get 4 stars. So again, tied directly back to stars. But once you get 4 stars, you're going to unlock that ability. And then every time you open up another character that's 4 stars, 5 stars of that same one, so another 4-star or 5-star aerial, I'm gonna start to get these signets that are specific to Ariel, and I can use these signets to level up her ability, and it's gonna add more to it. All right, so going from abilities, we have talents, and talents are where you really get to customize your character. So if you've already saw the video that we posted the other week with our breakdown of Ariel, I kind of go through talents and explain them a little bit, but in this video, I want to kind of give a good overview of what talents are. All right, so if we open up our talents, one of the biggest things are you are going to unlock each of these talents with certain levels of your character. So at level 30, you're going to unlock the final talent and be able to have the ability to equip any of them. So level 30 is very important to characters, that you get your final talent, and now you can really mix and match, because usually that final talent is actually one of their best ones in the game. So make sure that you're pushing your characters to 30 when you can and trying out that talent. Now, I know we're in another area where you can level up your talents, just like we saw a little bit with the abilities here, but this is where you can really push your character and do a lot more damage or heals or buffs, whatever your character is trying to do, by leveling up these talents. And that's going to be very key to having a very strong team and a strong guardian. So if I scroll up a little bit, we're going to look at this pelagic force right here. I'm going to click level up, and you can see that we're already at level 5 with this talent, and we're already adding a ton more damage to Ariel. Right below, you're going to have your books. And so your books are the things that are really harder to get in the game. You need to be going through your quest or the events that are coming around in order to get the pages. And once you get so many pages, they're going to form a book, and then you can use your books to upgrade your talents. So I know that was a lot there, but essentially just do your quest, go through there. You're eventually going to get your books, but make sure you're really focused on your characters and really focused on your talents that you want to use. You're not really going to be able to upgrade all of your talents. So I would really make sure you understand the 3 that you want to go after on your character. And then from there, focus in and only use the books on the ones that are going to matter the most. Now, if you have questions about those, I mentioned it earlier, but I am going to be doing character breakdowns on all the different characters to try to point out what are the best 3, maybe 4 talents to use so that you can actually focus in with them. But what's nice about this game is everybody's playstyle is different. So there really aren't any bad talents or any bad characters. It's just how you want to use them and how you want to use your team. All right, so from talents, we're going to go over to levels. Forget about astral levels, that's to deal with stars, but levels themselves. So you can see right here with the red piece over here, Ariel is level 48 for my character. And if I hit upgrade, this is where I can go up in my different levels. So you can go up into a whole bunch of different levels, and you're going to need different motes in order to level. So you can see right here, I'm going to need my medium red motes. I can use the white motes. The white motes are pretty much just a wild card that can be used with any character, but I'm going to need those medium red motes in order to get more levels for Ariel. And once you hit every 10 levels, you're going to need to rank up. So you may hear the word rank, you may hear the word levels. There are differences in those, and I'll pull up a graphic in just a minute and we'll look at them. But I wanted to kind of point out that every 10 levels, you're going to get to a rank, and you're going to need certain gear in order to move on to the next rank, which opens up the next set of 10 levels. And I am going to put this chart up online so you guys can see it over in the discords, but essentially this is going to be the rank requirements, all the information you need when you're looking at leveling up your characters. So I've broken it down by the levels here, and I want to give a shout out real quick to Easy. If you guys don't know, Easy makes a lot of great information out there, and he had a chart like this that he put up on a Google sheet so everybody could see it, and I kind of just prettied it up a little bit. So you can see we have the levels, we have the moats. Ignore that it's green. I just grabbed one moat so I could show it. Same thing with the class gems, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood the different levels. So 1 to 20, you're going to use those small moats. Anything over 20, you start to use the medium moats. And once you get up to level 50, you're going to start using the bigger moats, the superior moats. Next to that, I have the ranks. So you can see rank 1 through 10, and that's working up to level 100 with a character. Now, 100 right now is the cap on the characters, while your account actually has a cap of 200. Next, we have class gems. So once you get to that level 10, 20, 30, you're going to have to upgrade with those class gems to get to that next level. So you're going to need class gems and diamonds, and you can see each of these ranks are going to need a very specific amount of those. So it's important to farm these and kind of hoard these because some of them only show up in certain events, and so you may be waiting around for an event to come back, or maybe in the Laurel shop or something like that in order to grab some of these resources. So just be aware, it may be one of those that takes a little bit of time to get through your ranks as you go. Gold is important as well. As you rank up, you're going to be using this gold, and well, it adds up as you get into the higher ranks. There's star requirements, so you're not going to be able to take a 1-star all the way up. You are going to have to get stars along the way. So there is a few breakpoints of stars to levels and all of that stuff. And lastly, well, this is the important one, is the guardians. So once you're doing your first couple levels, you're fine. It's the one guardian you're using, but eventually you're going to need a second guardian of the same class. So if I have Ariel as a melee and I want to upgrade her, I'm going to need another melee that's 10 levels behind. So just keep that in mind as you're going through there. And as we get into tips, I'll kind of give you a few of mine. All right. So that kind of gives you an idea around levels and what you're doing with your ranks, and based on that, that's how you're going to push your characters up into the high levels so that you can get into the hard, expert, different areas like that of the game. So moving from levels, let's just go into tips. So I think this is one of the areas that most people are just going to skip right to, right? They're going to skip over the other stuff. They're going to go right to tips and see what those are. And I didn't make a fancy graphic or anything like this, but number one is focus. You want to make sure that you're focusing on your certain guardians. And I'm going to kind of open up my guardians real quick in the background so you guys can see, but it's very, very important to find the one character that you really want to build around. And so I've picked Ariel. Ariel is the character I really like in the game. She's S tier. She does a lot of damage, and I like her gameplay. So I'm going to build my team around her, and I want to make sure that as I select my characters, they really work well with her, and I'm not messing around with my resources and wasting them on characters that I'm never really going to use in the game. Now, that doesn't mean you're just going to farm one character and stay with one character. You do need a full team, and you do need some characters to swap in and out. So with that, number two kind of goes hand in hand with that. Make sure you've identified one character in every class that you want to farm. You need a melee, you need a tank, you need a support, and then beyond that, you need your ranged. Now, right now, ranged is probably some of the worst characters in the game. And I'm not saying they're not worth farming, they're just hard for late game stuff. So maybe at some point they'll get a buff because they used to be really, really good, but you are going to need one of each. So make sure you've started to identify those as you're going through the game. Whether that's characters you like, characters that have great synergy, or maybe just the ones you're opening that are 4 and 5 stars. Again, a 4 and 5 star character is gonna be much better than a 1 or 2 star. So make sure you're identifying those along the way and really focusing in on those. So we talked about finding your one character and focusing. We talked about focus on your team, finding one of each character. But I'm going to tell you the other thing that I've really learned, going back to that graphic that we saw where you're going to need more characters of the same type in order to hit those ranks. I would say also identify a secondary character of each class. So this one's a little tougher. You don't want to go and farm 6 characters all at the start, but you definitely need a trailing character that's about 10 levels behind your main character of that class. Now, once you hit to 50, you're going to need another one on top of that, but it's going to take a little while to get your characters up to level 50. So I would say it's important to identify your 3 main characters, and then beyond that, one of each class. So in my case, I've got Maui, I've got Mr. Incredible as my 2 tanks, I've got Ariel and Aladdin as my 2 melees. For support, I'm using Mickey and Jack. They're definitely two of the best supports in the game. Hero is also a great support. If you don't have any of those characters, Tiana was great when I was using her at the beginning of the game. So there's a lot of really good supports, but you're going to want to at least identify 2 supports that you want. And then ranged. So I mentioned before, range is a little hard. I believe Gaston is probably the best range in the game. I like Buzz. He's tech for the towers that you can use him. He's got a stun, so he's also really good. But realistically, Merida or some of the other ones are also going to be a good choice, but you want to identify 2 ranged characters and do the same thing. Your main one needs to be the higher level, and your secondary probably needs to be about 10 levels behind. That will help you go ahead and rank up your main character, move them up another 10, and then move that secondary one up another 10 after that. And there'll be about 10 levels in between, and you don't have to worry too much. All right. And the last one, same thing. All of these tips go hand in hand, is to make sure you're getting those class crystals. One thing that's happened to me several times and other people I've talked to is you get all the way to level 30, you're ready to rank up and continue with your leveling, and you don't have your class crystals. So make sure you're farming those class crystals. You're getting more than you think you're going to need, because sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 3. Sometimes you need the diamonds and you don't have those. So make sure you're farming those and you're focusing in on those for each of your classes, because you don't want to get up there and then have to wait another 2 or 3 days just to get over that rank, because you're having to now wait for an event to come back around or then to pop up in one of the shops. So just be aware. All right, guys. So I tried to make it pretty simple in a couple different areas there. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else you want a deeper dive on, maybe anything you didn't fully understand, and we can have a conversation. If you want to chat with me more, you can check out the Discord. The link is below. I hang out over there. We've got several people playing Mirrorverse as well as DSA. So just stop by, let us know what's up. And as I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, if you guys haven't subbed yet, make sure to hit that sub button, because we are doing a giveaway Mirrorverse figures, and we're going to be giving those away to some subs that leave comments. So every video that you comment on is going to put you in a chance for the drawing to get one of these figures. So make sure you do that. And as always, guys, you guys take it easy.